Irashaimase. Hello and welcome to Fataris' Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Fataris. It's time once again for Shoot 'em Up Saturday, and on the menu this week we have Burst Hero, a roguelite survival twin stick. What kind of taste will it have? Let's get cooking and find out. From developer Yaya Game, Burst Hero originally released for the PC in May of 2023. Now in May of 2024, it's also available on the Nintendo Switch, and that's the version we're looking at today. So this is yet another roguelite arena survival title, although think more along the lines of something like Brotato than, say, Vampire Survivors. There's a lot to like in this one. The runs are relatively short, between 8 to 10 minutes. There are a lot of characters to change up the gameplay, and quite a bit of customization between the weapons and the other abilities you'll be able to get in the course of a run. Although I do feel that there's some formulas that do put together a successful run, so that does take it down a little bit, and the runs themselves can be hard to get started, especially if you don't get the right upgrades. There's also this odd price discrepancy between the Steam version and the Nintendo Switch version, so if you like what you see here and you're looking to pick up this game, I might recommend going the Steam route instead of the Switch route. With all that said, I've had a lot of fun with this one. It's definitely a great one more run kind of game, so if you like that style of gameplay, then definitely give this one a try. Finding ourselves at the main menu. So of course start will be where we begin our run, but before that let's take a quick look at the other two selections. So under upgrade, this is where you'll have all these permanent upgrades that we can purchase for ourselves with the currency earned from runs. Everything from increasing your damage to the speed of the bullets themselves, your speed of reload, and even having additional refreshes in the shop. There's also a gacha mechanic in this title, though everything is earned in-game. So throughout the course of your gameplay, you'll earn these coins that you can use to spin this gacha to earn yourself additional characters, weapons, bullets, cards, as you see on the right, and it even gives you the total number of each of those. But once you've had a total of 6 rolls, you'll get a golden finger, which lets you just outright pick one particular selection on this wheel. So that's really great, as it will help accelerate the speed at which you can ultimately unlock everything. Starting a run. So this is one area this game does suffer, is there are not very many maps. You see the 4 main maps here, and in addition to that, there's this one that's kind of a remix mashup that takes all the enemies, the elites, the bosses, and combines them together into one kind of, well, chaos map. For our purposes today, we will be showing off the grass map, and this one I do have the difficulty turned up ever so slightly. So these are the 16 characters I've unlocked. Just to show off an interesting character, we'll go with a geisha, but there are some that have some really nice abilities. The Tough is the one I've used the most, as he can heal himself with his ability. But you've also got some fun ones like the Witch, which turns enemies into frogs. The combination of their weapons with skills just doesn't work very well. The Knight could be alright, but the problem is his Gatling gun is just too long of a reload, and it's not very effective. Any weapon that has a shorter range and a long reload time is going to be bad, so you'd want to replace that ASAP. There is also the ability to change up your loadout of what cards, basically what upgrades can show up throughout the course of your run, so that is nice. Selecting the geisha. So the geisha has a submachine gun as well as this really fun ability, multi-talented. You'll see how that is as we get going. In addition to that, the character sprite is really cute. So this is our gameplay. Things are going to go pretty quick. So our movement is on the left stick. Our aiming is on the right stick. However, if you just press your fire button, which is by default bound to the right trigger, it will, without using the aiming, it will auto-aim to the closest enemy near you. However, I do like having better control on that in this kind of a game, so I'll be aiming myself. As you defeat enemies, they can drop several different items. They will primarily drop coins, which will be used in the shop, which will become available after minute 1. In addition to that, they'll drop these cards. These cards are basically our abilities. When you pick them up, you can have the choice to abandon it if you don't want it, as we only have 8 slots total. Increased reload speed is awesome, so we will take that card. We'll grab this one too. Oh, AoE damage. So this basically creates a little AoE effect around our shots. So we do want these, and each card can be upgraded. They start at 0 stars, and then can be upgraded to 3 stars total. So here's another reload, and you can see it will become a 2-star, increasing our reload speed by 50%. We did get a notification that the shop was upgrading, and now at the minute mark, we can open up the shop here. So there's a lot we can do here. So here we can buy additional upgrades. You can also buy an additional weapon if none have dropped for you, and additional different bullet types as well. Because I purchased it in the upgrades, I do have a free refresh. You can level up the shop so you can start seeing more advanced cards. However, there is a problem with that. Once you've done that, likely some of the basic cards you're not going to see, so you might want to buy your basic upgrades first before you choose to level up. And we also have the option to lock the shop, as the shop refreshes every minute on the minute. If you don't lock it and you haven't purchased the upgrades you wanted out of the shop yet, you'll lose the chance to do so. This weapon did drop. This is the pistol. I believe this is the default weapon for, I don't know, I want to say at least one of the characters. I can't remember off the top of my head which one. However, I do like the submachine gun just for its fast rate of fire, especially when it comes to generating crits. It's not a bad choice to go with at all. So this little slime here is our first elite. In this stage, that's not too dangerous, as he just bounces around. Some elites either can fire shots at you or disappear, although once defeated, he does burst into a whole bunch of slimes. So there is a lot of drops when you defeat an elite, including 3-card selection. So the drones are one of the parts I feel are rather not essential to a winning run, but they will definitely help make a winning run more possible. So if we select the drone, we'd have that, but just to keep things more interesting, we'll just keep on. Actually, let's go with max hearts, as the characters do have different starting HP, and the geisha only has 2 hearts by default. So this power is a little bit confusing. Energy obtained by bullets hitting enemies is increased by 25%. What this power is the character's active ability. So it increases the speed at which our skill will become available. So where we do want to see our skill, that's pretty useful. So the elites will drop health as a standard drop. So that's if you have a character that can't necessarily heal themselves in one form or another, that is one way that we'll be able to do so. So at the 2-minute mark, you'll, on all the stages, instead of getting an elite, we'll get a chest. Depending on which stage you are in, it will change the kind of chest it is. So in the grass stage, it's this chest here. We go and shoot it, and bam! Oh, hey, I've got this bat bullet. I haven't had the chance to use it yet. So the geisha's skill just filled up, and now we're seeing what the multi-talented is. It gives us these options for different abilities. If we wanted to challenge ourselves, we could spawn an elite. However, we can also generate 2 random items or pick some armor. Just to go for on the defensive side, we will take the armor for this run. So these bullets were, bat bullets are some of the most recent that I've unlocked from the gacha. I haven't actually gotten them in a run since, so that's actually really enjoyable to see. The magnet, increasing your pickup range can be something that's good or bad. It's just your mileage varies with that one. So where we have an awesome bullet, we could come in here and decide to the shop whether we want to maybe get a different bullet type, a different weapon. The flintlock is really slow to reload, so that might not be the one that you'd want to take unless you're challenging yourself with that kind of run. But here we see the one that increases our damage for our bullet damage, and that one is always a buy. We'll actually buy out the shop, and we'll even hit the refresh, see what we get. We'll get another power, and we'll also, at this point, where we have 6 upgrades, we'll take the chance to level up the shop. So if I were to refresh it now, you see we actually have a blue skill. So basically you're looking at higher skills here. After emptying the magazine, we deal AoE with 100% damage. I think there are better skills that we can get, so we'll continue to move on. And that's basically your gameplay loop. So every minute the shop refreshes, you have elites that'll spawn on most minutes, but some minutes will also spawn you a boss instead. And at the 8-minute mark, we'll receive a boss. So each of the 4 stages have their own unique boss. However, if you're playing Chaos, you won't necessarily know which character, or rather which boss you're getting. So here we can gain refreshes in the shop, or we can just spawn another elite. Let's spawn another elite just to have some more fun with it. So I haven't actually combined any of these full cards before, so we're not going to take that one just yet. Out of this selection here, so on the bottom there you see a lightning bolt. That basically means this is an instance or an immediate use card that doesn't actually add to your deck of cards. So we'll go ahead and select this one. This just increases our base damage by +1. It's useful. And before we do anything else, so at the bottom down there you can see a button indicating deck. So you can press down on the D-pad on the Switch to pull up all our stats, including all of our cards with all the details filled out. So you can see where we're getting bonuses, what we don't are having issues with, and this is a good place to look if you're interested in how effective your run is. At this point, it's not bad, but you know, it could be better overall. So this is the second elite that we spawn using the Geisha's multi-talented skill. So really, spawning another elite gives you the chance to get additional health as well as these card pickups. We can get ghost ammo, we could increase our reload speed or our AoE. We'll go even more reload speed. And if the option, actually let's have a look at the shop. So if the option comes up, we can look at some different guns as well as bullets. So the Spirit Bomb is actually pretty interesting. We will buy the Spirit Bomb, which unfortunately used up all our money. The revolver is probably my least favorite as it just doesn't have enough shots. It's a 6-shooter that takes a fair amount of time to reload. So now we have these Spirit Bullets. They're really interesting as they'll take a second to expand before they blast out away from the character. So it's really, oh, yet another blade. Where we didn't pick up the first one of this, we'll go ahead and abandon that. Once we have enough bullets, or rather enough coins, it might be worth our time to pick up different, or rather upgrade the shop so we can see different cards. Multi-talented has popped up yet again, so I'm going to try this musical instrument, get a random weapon and a random bullet. So we got this power gun that dropped. It's a much slower fire rate than the one we had, and I believe those are the serpentine bullets, so let's give those a try. A discount in the shop, more AoE, or shadow bullets, a chance to fire an extra bullet. That sounds pretty awesome, so we'll take that. We'll go back to the Spirit Bullet as I feel like this is overall funner to use than the Serpentine Bullet, which is just kind of a wavy bullet. Some bullets do have different amounts of penetration as well, so how many enemies that they'll ultimately move through. Some weapons do as well. So we just changed the crossbow, and I'm trying to remember what specifically sets the crossbow apart. I think it could just go and be its fire rate. There's the Uzi. It's pretty similar to the minigun that we started with. Now at minute 5 we get our second chest, but really this run's actually going really well. So there are some other abilities that we can collect, like the strawberry milk as well as the banana milk. Strawberry milk enhances the power of our shots, whereas The banana milk makes it so we don't have to reload while those effects are active. So here we picked up an assault rifle. There are some other active abilities that will drop on the stage, like this magnet, allowing you to more efficiently pick up coins the enemies have dropped. And then popping back into the shop. Ooh, B ammunition! Yeah, that's definitely what we want to go. So let's go B ammunition, and we will buy the fireworks gun. So now we're shooting bees, and we're shooting them, well, actually I'm not sure what oh, that's right, the bees home in. So now we're shooting in every direction, and because we have reasonably fast reload, the firework gun, which only has 2 shots, goes pretty quick. So this is actually a pretty fun way to do things. After buying a lightning card, return 20 coins. No, we'll go ahead and, let's see, take a skip on that. There are some abilities, actually, let's upgrade the shop and see if I can get that ability that I like. So there is an ability which will increase the power of your shots every time you use a lightning ability, basically a card that takes effect immediately. So if we can get that upgrade, we're basically set. But overall, this has actually been a run that I've been pretty happy with. So that's basically Blast Hero served up for your enjoyment. So as far as the minus flavors that this game has, so I do have some issue with how dark the stages are. Most of the stages tend to go and be on the darker side. I would have liked it if things had been a little bit brighter, and if there was maybe the option to allow you to zoom out the screen just a little bit. Especially on the graveyard stage in particular, it's very, very noticeably dark, so that's definitely been one of my big complaints. In addition to that, with only having 4 main stages, it would have been nice to see a little bit more variety. However, though, every stage does have its own unique set of enemies, elites, and bosses as well, so there is that. And the chests are all different for each stage. So before I go on with that, this card I got here is actually really interesting. If there was one that we weren't happy with, we could take this remove card and we could drop one of the cards we've picked up from our deck. However, I am happy with everything I have for the moment, so we will just abandon this one and continue building this run. So with the B ammunition, we actually have the shots all homing in on one enemy, which actually works for really well in defeating the enemies that we've got. So now, like, our card slots are full. I took one that increased the penetration for our shots, making the bees even more effective at homing in on the enemies. And that was our final elite. At this point, we're going to be encountering the boss in just a moment. So this run wasn't very indicative of that, but some runs, some characters have a really hard time getting started on like certain stages in particular. So one of the problems that there exists is there is like some issues with the hitbox, where you've got some enemies that will actually dive into the character from you would think in this kind of a game that you can just squeeze through the enemies there, but that's a good example of that. The grasshopper actually hopped into us, going and ending our run. So now, as you can see at the end of the run, we earned tickets for the time that we were alive, the money we had, and the number of kills, and we go back to the title. We also earned a coin, so we can take a quick spin of the gacha, which also earned us a golden finger. So you can see everything that's here. So my last minus flavor is the whole problem with the PC Switch price difference. On Steam, this game is only $3, and the price on the Nintendo Switch is $12. Although that does include all the added DLC to the game, that DLC was free for the PC version. So kind of do keep that in mind. Using a golden finger will add another weapon to the pool, so the handgun here. the default weapon for one of the other characters, and we'll just grab a quick run before we finish things up here. But as far as the plus flavors are concerned, the things I really like about this game in particular, I just like the character selection that we have available. So having all those different characters, the different weapons, as well as all the abilities you can potentially get and upgrade your character with, is just what's really fun about this game. In addition to that, the different weapons and specifically the different bullet types can make for some really fun, zany combinations. The pixel art is really cute, and I just really love the enemies that we have, as well as the various character players that we can be. But just that whole dark stage problem does bring that down just a little bit. And ultimately, for being an arena survival shooter, this one is really solid with that really fun one more run kind of gameplay that just is the sign of a really solid game in that particular genre. So, there you have it. Burst Hero served up for your enjoyment. A recommendation from the chef, just maybe double check your platform of choice when you're picking this one up. Alright, that'll just about bring us to the end of this week's episode of Shoot 'em Up Saturday. As always, I want to thank you so much for joining us this week. We hope you have a wonderful week yourself, and we look forward to seeing you again next time.